Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and another top 10 video, and this is going to be for the best horror movies of the 1970s. Now before I get started, I will admit that there are movies I have not seen from this decade, and I do have some honorable mentions. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the honorable mentions, and then we'll get straight on to my top 10 personal favorite picks for the top 10, my personal favorite 70s horror films. Just remember, these are just my personal opinions, so don't get mad. The first honorable mention is a movie called Magic, starring Anthony Hopkins as a ventriloquist. And my last honorable mention is actually Salem's Lot, which almost did make my list. Number 10. Number 10 is going to be The Last House on the Left, and the reason why I picked The Last House on the Left, because this is possibly Wes Craven's most demented movie, and he has made some demented movies, but this one really tops it. There's rape scenes, there's uncomfortability throughout the entire movie. This movie is just one big freaking clusterfuck of holy shit. At the end of the day, you just gotta commend it for what ballsy moves it makes. Coming in hot at number 9, it's gonna be the Amityville Horror. Big fan of the subjects of hauntings, paranormal, supernatural entities, I just love that stuff. And though the Amityville Horror original movie is kind of slow, it's a slow burn at points. I mean, really decent, okay performances, mostly atmospheric, which does help the movie a lot. It's very atmospheric. But at the end of the day, I really enjoy the movie, and you can't deny it's a classic. Let's face it, it's a classic. Boom! Number 8. Carrie. Certainly one of the movies on this list that I found to be absolutely powerful, gut-wrenching, sad, but powerful. A story showing and tackling the subjects of misunderstood, isolated people who aren't used to the world like other people are used to the world. And it's just a sad but beautiful story. And yes, of course, it is pretty damn frightening at points. Here we are at number 7. The Omen. The movie itself is great, but the idea overall is absolutely terrifying. To be a parent and to figure out your son is the Antichrist, the holy fucking shit your pants definition of an evil entity, and you have to take his life. Fuck, that would be scary. Number 6. Ridley Scott's Alien. Speaking of horror movies that have to deal with isolation, the concept and entirety of being out in the middle of space when something like this happens, an alien coming after you, no one being able to hear you, to save you, there's no police, there's no fire stations, it's just you with a creature, and that is just a terrifying fucking concept. And giving us the xenomorph. Fuck yeah. Finally, the top 5! We got Black Christmas. I know, this movie is ranked up higher than Ridley Scott's Alien, but dude, this movie is one of the most underrated, one of the most underappreciated slasher films of all time. It is absolutely unsettling, atmospheric, you gotta really watch it, I highly recommend you do. Billy is one of the most unsettling and mysterious slashers you will ever see. So yeah, Black Christmas, number 5. Here we are at number 4. Jaws, of course. Now this pick is for obvious reasons. Not only does it have one of the best directors helming the project, but it's really overall pretty much the definition of what a classic movie is from the 70s, and Jaws is absolutely, the shark itself is frightening as hell. The characters are all memorable, great kills, the suspense is there, it's a great movie. On to number 3. The top 3, woo! The Exorcist. And just like Jaws, this is one of those obvious picks for why it's in the top 3. And though I like the top 2 a lot better than this movie, I probably can't deny that this is probably the scariest film on my list. This was without a doubt the most horrifying concept brought to screen from the 70s, in my personal opinion. Love the movie, it's terrifying. Number 2. Almost to the end, guys. BAM! The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Possibly the most out there and insane movie in the 70s. Now, with these top 2 picks, there's obvious reasons for me personally why I picked these 2 movies over Jaws, The Exorcist, all the other ones. And that's mostly because rewatch value, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the most bizarre movies I've ever seen, and I've seen it about 4 or 5 times now, and I still can't get enough of it. So yeah, it had to make my number 2. And my personal favorite horror film from the 70s is... it's John Carpenter's Halloween. Yeah, not really a big surprise, especially coming from someone like me, but this is really mostly everybody's favorite horror film from the 70s. It's probably the most popular, and I'm not going to go into too much detail why it's my personal favorite. It's just one of those movies. Not only is it rewatchable like hell, but it's also great with the characters. The acting is pretty damn solid. The slasher himself is terrifying. There's just so much here you gotta love. The shape is always in the shadows. The movie overall is just atmospheric. You gotta love it. And not only that, but it mixes in one of the best times of the year, in my personal opinion, Halloween, in a beautiful blend. So guys, those were my top 10 personal favorite horror films from the 70s. Comment down below. Let me know your top 10 personally. And guys, you always, of course, like, subscribe. You know the whole drill. And I'll check you out in the next video, guys. It was an absolute blast. Can't wait to do the 80s.